When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs. Today, we are diving into one of my favorite subjects, which is be a sales genius. If you're listening and you own a business, or basically you exist, every time you open your mouth, you are selling yourself. You are enrolling your children to sit at the dinner table, to do their homework, to do their chores. The more persuasive you can be, the more that you are clear on your messaging, on what the why behind what you're saying, the more you become a sales genius. So we have Cheryl Burget with us today, and she is going to be helping us really understand how to become a sales genius. But before we get to her and at our show today, I want to thank our sponsor, Your Guided Health Journey. Did you know that your body speaks to you? It doesn't speak in English, it speaks in symptoms, trying to alert you to the fact that something isn't quite right as it asks you to pay attention to do something different. Think about the ways your body's been talking to you lately: aches and pains, headaches, hot flashes, heartburn, digestive issues, or something else. These are not normal. They are signs that your body is out of balance. A body in balance doesn't get sick, harbor disease, or hold on to excess weight. Let that settle for a second. Get started with your guided health journey today by taking your free Discover Your Toxic Load quiz to learn how your body is talking to you and asking you to do things differently. You can find that quiz at welcome.yourguidedhealthjourney.com/your toxic load. And we will have all that information available to you at your fingertips for those of you that are listening and for those of you that are on Facebook and watching us. And if you're like, Facebook, what? I can see the interview on Facebook. Yes, you can. Just go over to Colleen Biggs and you will find all of our interviews of all of our past guests, even on our previous podcasts, Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. And again, we have training videos and so many other videos. If you're a female who is an entrepreneur looking to connect more with other female entrepreneurs, please feel free to join our community called Leap for Ladies. Leap for Ladies, and you can come and join our community of female entrepreneurs that are building their businesses with purpose. That's right, y'all, with purpose. So let's get back to the guest of our show today, because I'm really excited to have her here coming to us out of Denver, Colorado. Cheryl Burget is the CEO of Your Sales Genius, teaching entrepreneurs how to lead with service in making sales. After spending 18 years climbing the corporate ladder in the competitive financial world, Cheryl thought that she had achieved success. I did too, girl. Selling $168 million in investment strategies until one day when all that changed. It no longer aligned with the old school sales tactics. Cheryl set out on a mission to help service-based entrepreneurs put sales at the front of their business, with service being the focal point of every conversation. She defines sales as an acronym meaning serving anyone lovingly, effectively, and successfully. Cheryl, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Colleen. I'm so glad to be here. God, that was a great introduction. I sometimes turn around and go, who's she talking about?
I'm glad that I let you sit and marinate in it.
I did.
Yeah, I'm glad that you did, because you've accomplished so much and we forget that, right? And I think that also kind of messes with our psyche of sales. Is sales has a lot to do with the confidence and clarity that you have. And knowing that you had, done 168 million in sales and investment strategies, right? You're like, well, yeah, I guess I really never thought of it that way. It was when someone asked me one time, well, how many businesses have you opened? I'm like, I don't know. I've never counted. And then I literally went back and thought about, okay, this is how many clients I worked with on an average, and this is how many years I've done it. And I was like, whoa, it's like 340 businesses I've opened. Are you kidding me? That's a big number. And that's impressive is 168 million. And then if I were to think of how much on an average each one of those businesses made, and how successful they were, I love the word genius thing, but, let's talk about, we obviously know how you got into sales because it's part of your bio. So, and you left corporate to build these businesses to really make sales simple for people. But service is a mindset. You say that a lot. So can we talk a little bit about that, Cheryl?
Absolutely. So one of the things I noticed is I started to notice that it was so easy for me to go up and start to talk to somebody, ask them questions, and be genuinely interested in what they had going on with their business or personally or whatever it was. And I realized that people want to be heard, and people who have problems in their business, i.e. for me, it's sales, more clients, more money. I just started to listen to what it was that they weren't doing and what it was that I was doing that made sales easy. And so I started to, it was probably over a 7-year period, started to build a formula and just to notice what I was doing differently, my mindset, how I approached things, how I studied other salespeople. Mm-hmm. Now, I won't say that I've ever had a formal sales training. I've never, and because I think that sometimes messes with you because it's someone else's idea, not your own. Yeah. And the people I work with really don't want to be salesy, pushy, and manipulative, but they need sales as the baseline or they're never going to be able to run a business.
That's right. Yeah. I've never, if the qualification is a call center and they train me how to work in a call center, that is my sales training that I've had. So just like you, right? Grant Cardone has not taught me how to sell, but I've read most of his books. So I guess I would call that sales training, right?
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's so true. Because, that's who I was thinking of when I said that. That's so weird.
Yeah. And that's what he wanted us to think of when we thought about sales. His goal and why he pushes the pedal so hard. And a lot of people are like, I'm not going to work like Grant Cardone. That's crazy. He pushes the pedal so hard because he wants his name, Grant Cardone, to be in the same sentence and you to think of him when you think of sales. And most people do now. I mean, it wasn't always like that. So when you own a business or when you're a mom, I say this because I had to be like the best salesperson ever to enroll my kids to do what it is that they're doing. You have so many great tactics on things that you do and teach people, because we've had you teach in the LEAP community in the past. And it was just, the women got so much out of that session that you ran. So let's walk through, if you don't mind, some of the basics of how people can solve their sales woes, right? There's two things to this. One is the piece that's people are scared. They're scared to sell because sales has this squirmy, used car salesman, pushy type of annotation to it that I don't believe it should have. So let's talk about that and how they can get over that first. And then your steps that you assist clients with, just kind of the basic starting point.
Absolutely. Happy to do that. And this is my favorite part. And I don't know why 100% of us go to the used car salesman. Well, I kind of do. Back in the 50s, there's an image, right? And they're attacking you when you walk on the lot, right? And so the way that I help people get over it is I help them discover what problem it is they're solving. So for instance, if I was a doctor and you walked in with a broken arm, I'm not going to say, hey, would you like a cup of tea? Right? Yeah. I'm going to actually say, let's get you in, let's get you x-rayed. I am not thinking about how much it's really costing them. I am looking at their problem. So when you're in sales, people think it's about how you present yourself when it's not that at all. It's how interested are you in finding out the person you're talking to's problem? What is their actual problem? What do they want, first of all, and why do they want that, and how important is it? So if somebody tells me, and I'll give a good example, if somebody tells me the mindset that they need to have is, don't be afraid to share your problem solving or your genius with someone, because it's really out of integrity. If I needed to know how to jump out of an airplane, Okay. And somebody didn't, and I was going to have to, no matter what, I was going to have to jump out of an airplane, and somebody didn't approach me on the how to do that correctly. They're risking my life. So if you look at your business, and I need to share with somebody, if they absolutely don't, which most don't, know how to sell properly, they either do it awkwardly, resistantly, or expect people to come to them. That's the biggest thing I see, Colleen, is I said, well, that's like rowing a boat in the middle of a lake and expecting fish to jump in it, right?
That's right.
They don't.
That's correct.
So having a conversation is not about bragging about who you do and what you can do. And do not ever, here's one thing, do not ever say, I can help you with that. Okay. That is it really does go back to old school. And so what you want to know is tell me what's going on with your business. I want more clients. Fabulous. And so you're in a fact-finding mode, genuinely curious about the other person. You're asking questions. That right there takes off the burden of you having to sell yourself, because all you're doing is finding out the facts. And then the conversation naturally can go into, if they have a problem that you can solve, would you like me to make some suggestions on how we could solve that? And it's that asking permission transition. So we'll talk about that more when I go into the details, but it really is get over your fear and just do it. All of us are afraid of something. I remember when I was 6 and I was afraid to jump off the high dive and did it anyway. There were many times in my life I have been scared and just stepped forward. And Colleen, I know that that's been the truth for you as well, is don't indulge fear at the expense of your business.
That's right. Yeah. You have to start before you're ready. And, so many people see me today and they say, well, that's easy for you to say. I get that a lot. Well, Colleen, that's easy for you to say because you're everywhere. Well, I was just doing a podcast episode that said about 6 years ago, when I Googled my name, one video popped up that my husband had done for me on YouTube and my LinkedIn profile. It's like that's all that showed up. My goal was to have my name show up everywhere. So I did podcast interviews and I did my own podcast and I did a magazine and I'm in people's magazines. And anytime someone asks me, hey, can you do a blog over here? I do that, right? Back channel link and you name it, I will show up in other people's directories. Now you Google my name and I'm 2 straight pages on Google of me. And I don't even know where the other Colleen Biggses went, but I'm telling you that I did not know what I was doing when I started. I just started before I was ready. I knew what I wanted in the end game. And I just, they say fake it till you make it. And I don't necessarily feel like faking it till you make it is the best thing, because sometimes you can damage other people's businesses if you're providing a service and you're faking it because you don't really know. When I was training people that were coming on and working with businesses back in my corporate days, when I would train them, I would say there is a office full of individuals here that have answers. So if you don't know something and a client asks you, you just say, that's a great question. I'm going to find that out and get back to you. That's it. That's all you have to say. And then when you get back to them with the answer via email or text, or back then it was barely email, I think we were working with, you don't have to call them, and get on a phone and have a conference with them. But, you just get them the answer and they're happy that you solved the answer. They don't care if it took you 5 minutes or if it took you 24 hours or 48 hours. They just needed the answer. But if you lie and you fake it and you just give something that you think would just appease them in the moment, you're directing them down the wrong path to do something that isn't going to help them, possibly hurt them, right?
Oh, Colleen, I had the best example when I was about 25. I was in a corporate environment and I was sitting around a table with all men. I was in the investment marketing business. And I watched one of my colleagues about my age answer a question that we all knew was incorrect. And I thought to myself, in that moment, it taught me a lesson. Don't ever act like you know something you don't. And so even now, I'm not sure about that, and it happens more rarely when you own your own business because you pretty much know. And I've worked with literally over 1,000 entrepreneurs in building their businesses. So I kind of know there's not I haven't come across one in the last couple of years that's unique for people being afraid to pick up the phone, afraid to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share with people what are some of the things that you need to do as a service-based entrepreneur in order to get the leads in the door.
Yeah.
Then how do you turn the lead into, or how do you turn the prospect into a lead? So you get people in the door. How do you get them on that conversation? How do you get that conversation started? Because many people go to networking events and have no idea how to get them from A to B.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, let's do.
Yeah.
This is fun. I'm having fun.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, my mom finally said, when I got to travel around the world for the passion test and speak, she said, I'm so glad you get paid to speak for a living because you're good at it, right? You and I have something in common, don't we? And it's so amazing to hear 6 years ago, nobody knew who you were and you made it a mission to get out there. Colleen, I see you everywhere. I'm like, how'd you get there? How'd you get there? All the time. And the people that you're connected with, I continue to find people that I run into that are connected with you. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
So let's talk about, you meet somebody in a networking event. So I recommend that there are 3 areas, service-based entrepreneurs, 3 things that they do specifically at the very beginning of their business. If they're a little more advanced, you'd go into some more advanced strategies, but I'm going to sit here and talk about 3 ways that most entrepreneurs can use to grow their business and find leads strategically. You can show up for an entire year at a networking event and go, didn't work for me. Well, that's because you didn't do it right? You are constantly looking and intending before you walk in the door, I'm going to find 3 to 4 good contacts today that I can get on a conversation later. All right. To see if we're a good alliance partner, to see if they have a problem, and don't ever do the bait and switch. Hey, I just want to get to know you. Well, I know a lot of people and don't have time to get to know you. However, there's sometimes it's not a good fit. So you say, thank you. Great to know you. Hey, if I know somebody who needs you. But there's 3 ways, and it's networking, speaking, and sponsorship, right? At different levels. And everyone has to be mastered, or you have to become a genius at each one.
Yeah.
So genius networker, you need to become a genius speaker, and you need to become a genius sponsor, because if you are passive in any 3 of those ways, you will not get the results that you want. So you can't just show up and sponsor a table. You have to. I remember I had one question I would ask people as there were many people walking by, and Colleen, you might have even been at this event, but I was saying, hey, if I ask you 0 to 5, how are you at sales? And if people dropped their head, I knew they were an ideal client.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a survey I'd like you to fill out. Let's have a conversation.
Yep.
That's how I did. It took, 7 seconds?
Yeah.
To get someone's attention walking by. So the key is having a transition question. I call it the magic question, that you ask someone that you are the answer to. For instance, I will say to people, hey, do you need more? And this is not the first thing I say to them, just everybody to get clear, but as you're having a conversation, so are you needing more clients? Just very conversationally. And they'll go, yeah, I am. That's why I'm here. Duh, right? At a networking event. And then say, well, would you like to just jump on a quick chat? And maybe I could give you some suggestions and tips on how to get more clients. I don't say, I can help you with that. I don't say, that's what I do. I say, let me help you. So whether they buy from me or not, they walk away with some good tips.
Yeah.
And I start at the beginning and say, hey, if I feel like we're a good fit, is it okay that I make a recommendation? We work together.
Yeah.
So I'm getting permission along the way so it doesn't feel icky, like, that was just a sales call. But if I don't feel like it's a good fit, then I don't ask.
Yeah.
And we tend to lose that if we're in desperation. So remember that.
Yeah.
So the question you would ask, Colleen, would be something like, same thing. Do you need more visibility? Right?
Yeah. So for my community, it would be about visibility. For business coaching, it would be about, growth. It would be about clients. It would be about income. Those are the two biggest focuses and I find that it's because of the lack of visibility is why they're not getting the clients and have the income that they want. Right. So it starts with visibility. You're right. Absolutely.
And it's perfect.
Yeah. Do people know who you are? Do they know your brand? Are you getting referrals from your clients? Most of the time they're like, no, I have to go out and, fish for all of my clients. And I say, my gosh, that must be exhausting. I attract my clients. Let me show you how to attract your clients, right? I wrote a book on it, on how you attract your clients. And you talked about that permission transition, which we had talked about earlier. And I'm glad you brought that in there, because the biggest struggle, and Cheryl, if you've worked with the thousands of people, you know, the biggest struggle they have is, how do I go from the conversation or getting them on a conversation to offering my services? I see so many women waste time on conversations and then not offer their services because they don't know how to do it. Or they'll say, I'm tired of talking to people from networking events because all they want to do is sell me. And you know what I tell them? I've been to probably more networking events than any of you have been to, and not one person's ever tried to sell me on anything, on any call I've ever been on, because the person asking questions is the person in control. And I'm the one asking the questions.
That's right. That's number 2. Don't lose control of the call, right? Don't say, how are you? That's a killer right there.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about your business is how I usually start. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Tell me, and then I get into what is it that you want. And then if it wasn't set up as a sales call, if I have not asked them that magic question before we get on a call, then I do ask permission.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, you know what? I've got some ideas that I think will help you grow your business faster or move your business forward. Is it okay we talk about that?
Yeah.
And I had somebody once say to me, that's not what I got on the phone with you. And I said, that's fine. That's fine. Good luck with your new business. I hope that everything goes well. And if you need anything, you've got my number.
Yeah.
So
she's not your ideal client.
No,
yeah,
that's
right.
No.
That's the other thing. I'm glad you said that, Cheryl, because when I talk about attracting your right client, I have made mistakes in the past and wasted my time. And I think it was the corporate mentality, right? You had to work with people in corporate America that you didn't want to work with. Right. So I thought, well, as an entrepreneur, I'm going to have to work with people that I don't want to work with. And so I did in the beginning. And the truth be told, no, you don't. And it's exhausting, and it's negative, and it takes all your energy. 80% of your time and energy, they will suck. Right. It
is like the drain.
Yeah.
And you start to notice that when you start working with people and you start to make notes. Oh, that's not something I want to handle. That's not something I want to deal with. The one who says, I've worked with about 5 different business coaches and I've gotten nothing. And I go, so let me give you a couple suggestions and tips on how to grow your business. And you've got my number and reach out if you'd like to.
That's right. What is your immediate thought on that? They are the ones not getting out of the 5 business coaches that they've worked with. They're not applying. They're not. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. I start with my clients and I say, first of all, you're 100% responsible for the results you get. And they go, what? And I go, no, I can give you great ideas. And I will say up to this point, knock on wood, that 100% of the people that I have shared strategies with who have followed the strategies have made money, more money than they thought they could. So it's not the strategy that's broken. Will you implement it?
Yep.
So
that's right.
One other tip I want to share, Colleen, if it's okay with you.
Yes, please.
Is one of the things that I continue to share with my clients, and we all do this from time to time. I'm still guilty of it occasionally, is I become attached to the outcome rather than committed to the outcome. Okay. Let me explain what I mean. When I'm committed to the outcome, I'm completely focused on the other person getting what they want and making sure that I explain to them the problem if they don't say yes. Okay. I recently had a situation where I think I was so committed that I actually found myself crossing over into attached. And I knew this woman was literally, based on what she told me, was not going to make it without having to get a job. Unless she started to work with me. And I realized that, or had the sales, let me just say master sales.
That's right.
Okay. Become a genius at sales, because that's the one skill set. You can be average or you can be above average. You won't stay in business very long, but you can be above average and still stay in business. McDonald's is still around, right? And the reason is because you have a word that you stand behind, you have a good sales strategy, and the product either will hold up or won't. You always need to have a good product or a good service. And you keep refining that as you go. I can tell you I'm much better than when I started 6 years ago at quickly identifying, calling people out on things, not letting them sit in their stuff, and just challenging them to go do something different.
Yeah.
So attached to the outcome is an icky feeling because you can tell when somebody's attached because it's about them rather than being committed for the other person. I'm committed to showing you the holes in your business that you need to fill.
Yeah. That's great. I love that. And you're right. You're the catalyst, the portal, the conduit that's assisting them to get there, because most of the time, if anyone's read the book about, what is it? The Secret of Being a Millionaire. I think that's what it's called. Like T. Harv Eker,
Secret of the Millionaire Mind.
Secret of the Millionaire Mind. Thank you. I always forget the exact title, but the number one thing that he was told when he was living in his dad's basement at 24 years old was, his dad's friend said to him, it's just that you don't know what you don't know. That's all it is. It's a lack of knowledge in something. And sometimes we have the knowledge, but then we don't implement on it. We don't take action. And I'm here to tell you that the first thing is you need the knowledge. And then when you get the knowledge from someone like Cheryl, who is a sales genius, so you get the knowledge on what you need to know about sales. The second step is to take action on it. As you take action on it, you become more confident in your sales opportunities and your sale aptitude and how you can sell. And then that snowball just keeps rolling. And so if you know it and you're still ignoring it, it's on you. That's what I say. Right. It's on you. If you don't know it, and I'm the person that you've chosen, or Cheryl's the person, right? Cheryl's the person that you've chosen to assist you in learning that, then it's on her to teach you, and then it's on you to take action for it. Absolutely. Right. And I love that because, I always tell everyone, you want to make a lot of money, become an accountability coach, because basically holding anyone accountable to anything they have to do is the number one thing that everyone needs. It's why personal trainers are out there. It's why coaches are out there. It's why, anyone for anything. The reason why they get results is because they hire someone to hold them accountable to it. That's why
the discipline of being a business owner.
Yes, it's a discipline. So, okay, Cheryl, there's a lot of places that people can reach you. On Facebook, you're Cheryl Burget. You have CherylBurget.com. How do you want people to connect with you? What is the best way for them to reach out? Is there a way to connect with you on your website, or should they DM you through Facebook?
Well, let me give you two things. First, I want to give a gift, if it's okay with you.
Yes, please.
So it's www.CherylBurget.com/sales fear. That will give you the 5 tips to overcoming the fear of sales. So immediately, you just need to, you're not being chased by a tiger. You don't have a gun to your head. Get over it. You're worried about what people think about you. I'm going to tell you as a business owner, Colleen, is this not true? That when you start to have some success, you get haters all of a sudden. And guess what? You can ignore them or you can buy into it. You got to ignore them and move on. So you might as well start in the beginning. I don't care what people think. If I call them, I had a woman one time I called her and she's like, well, this is an old number. And I go, or she said, I can't believe you called me. And I said, well, don't put your number on your business card. Simple. I didn't get offended. I just tossed it in the trash. So the best way to get a hold of me, the question you asked, is if you want to have a conversation and you want me to do an assessment, a sales assessment of your business, I'm happy to do that. And you can reach out to Kim at Cheryl Burget, Kim at yoursalesgenius.com and just ask her to set an appointment on my calendar. That'll be perfect. You can DM me in Facebook as well. I'm not as great about checking that as I should be. So the best way to do it is go through my assistant.
Okay, great. And then for those of you listening to this podcast, since it's been produced, all of those notes will be available for you at your fingertips. For those of you that are watching this on Facebook right now, we'll have Cheryl put that information in the comment section. That way you guys know how to reach out to Kim. That way you can get the freebie and have that all available to you, because I know it's not in the description today. So we will have all that available to you. And Cheryl, thank you so much. You are such a lovely guest. You have so much to offer. And I know that our listeners got so many tips out of what you had to offer them today. Any last words you want to leave with our listeners?
Here's what I want to say. I'm in gratitude for you for giving a platform for entrepreneurs to share their gifts. You definitely have that gift from the minute I met you. We instantly connected. I adore you. I think you're doing amazing things in the world, and keep it up.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you so much. All right, listeners, you heard it from Cheryl. You're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that's ever going to be. Mm-hmm. You're responsible for the success or failure of your businesses, period. You are. So I say, why not have fun doing it? Why not work with people that are going to push you, that are going to guide you, that are going to be that conduit to help you become a sales genius? It is the main thing that you need to know how to do in your business. Really, almost the only thing. You can outsource everything else. The only thing you need to be able to know how to do in your business, and it will change the game of your business, I promise you. And Cheryl's a great conduit for that. So for all of you joining us today, thank you so much for being with us. And until next time, don't forget, be you and be strong. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.